So satisfying. VR, I mean, of course. Yes, VR. If Sackboy were the hero for the PS3, then this little robot is carrying the sword for PSVR. And after a small taste of action in Playroom, he is now treated to his own full-blown adventure thanks to Sony Japan Studios, a collective you are almost certain to have played a game from. Ape Escape is likely the longest and most famous, well, aside Knack, of course.
I brought help!
I think I'm...
Something of a core ingredient for PlayStation consoles since those very first days. From monkeys, demons, puppets and guardians, it has been nothing if eclectic. This has been mirrored with the formats and medium. Consoles, handheld and VR have all been on the receiving end of their skills or publishing power. Now that title may have grabbed you, and it is something I do not take lightly. Simply, this is one, if not the best uses, nay integration of the VR format I have experienced since launch. Before I get into why I feel it is a similar moment to that paradigm, I need to bring you up to speed. The inception is simple. Some selfish nasal debris has decided to bully your friends, steal your ship and scatter your crew across 5 linear worlds, leaving one lone hero to save them all. So far, so 90s. Your mission is to explore these realms, rescue your colleagues and rebuild your ship, which bears a striking resemblance to a VR headset. These cover a range of themes from dark caves, jungles, ocean depths and lava-stricken lands that would fall perfectly in line with any Sonic or Mario title. The difference here, your presence within the story and adventure, is something of a starring role, and what sets this apart from all 2D platformers, and be under no confusion, this is a platformer in every sense of the word. You are required to locate your trapped friends across each of the 4 levels per 5 worlds. 8 of your crew are hiding away with each of them, and some are easier to find than others. But as the worlds tumble, the difficulty of this bot hunt increases alongside the skill requirement. Similar to the superb Moss last year that I touched on in my 2017 VR title, it breaks down the 4th wall by not only involving you, which that did, but acknowledging your presence within the world itself. This core feature seems simple enough that many other titles should have followed it, and some have, but none have designed the entire experience around it to this degree. You control your little starboy around these precarious worlds using a variety of precision jumping, simple attacks of strikes, spins or foot lasers, mixed with a variety of puzzles and multi-pronged and quite simply superb level design. This kind of ingenious craft I have not enjoyed since those hallowed days of platforming's heyday. Using no more than 2 main buttons for one half of your digital duo seems minimal in this rammed control system days, but simplify to intensify is the order of the day. This is a rousing success as you almost intuitively control the bot without any guides required. Like a true classic game, it is simple to learn but difficult to master. Much of this is that you yourself are an element within the success of this story, not just idly sitting on your chair pressing buttons, instead being the eyes and head to see the end of this tale. You have to lean forward to see what is lurking behind that wall, or up small sections to find secret areas or one of your hidden crew. Anything could be hidden behind, and they design this around enemies popping out from behind and attacking you. The real star is the 360-degree design levels that put you at the centre. The path is on rails throughout the game, controlled by your progression of the hero at large. Many of them require you to sit up, look down, around, and even turn fully in your seat to make that jump, solve that conundrum, or even see where that elusive 8th bot is hiding. Quickly this becomes the most engrossing platformer I have ever played and takes me right back to the space age wonder that the N64 Classic ushered in with those intuitive controls, excellent level and world design, and most importantly the bedrock camera system that almost every other game since used as the basis for theirs. Here you are the camera, so this is the most perfect camera system you could ask for, well, when obstruction or view is not woven into the design mind. Expanding this further is enemies will attack you, spit goo that needs to be shaken off by your head, something you again naturally do as you play. Dodge hornets, headbutt them or scenery, and even acquire various tools throughout play, such as the in vogue grapple hook, ninja stars, or water gun that adds yet more dimensions to this full 3D extravaganza. You are tasked to clean up sticky goo, water plants for progression, pull down walls or deflate balloons, even create makeshift platforms on the fly to progress. All of these elements combine to create the most absorbing experience I have had in VR without feeling anything but joy. Sickness is very, very low, as movement is natural from your head and lateral movement is kept to a minimum. The design is always aware you are sitting down, keeping the captivating escort and hectic moments safe enough to not have your breakfast joining in the fun. What really seals the deal though and takes this beyond any other platformer you have played is the simply stunning quality of the visuals and that PSVR headset. A game where graphics make an even bigger difference than others is VR, and Astro is frankly a Pixar level VR game from a visual and animation perspective. As you are always pressed nose close to much of the world and characters within, detail and simplicity is key. The team have maximised the finite resources here with remarkable results that are some of the best you will see from a console-powered VR title. You lean in to see Astro waving at you, blinking, and all manner of action and idle animations, another offering to those platforming gods. Smooth and fluid animation is used across all characters, with Bot being the standout as he runs, sways, swims, spins, slides and darts around. He portrays all the nuance of a little character out to rescue his friends. Much of the world and enemies in the game, including the outstanding boss battles, mix up keyframe animation with morph shape animation that mixes vertex blends rather than all being limb and skeletal rigs. Much like Nintendo have been doing for the years in many of its Mario titles, and we saw in Abzu, mixing up traditional rig animation and blend shapes within vertex shaders reduces the load on the CPU and memory while allowing a variety of objects to move, sway and come alive with liquid fluidity. The world all feels very active as you play. Grass sways, flags billow, mushrooms light and bounce, and cannibals spin and smash your visor as you admire those silky smooth vertex rotations and shifts. Another factor that gives the whole thing a polished and, dare I say, Nintendo feel of quality to it. Physically based materials and lighting are another element that seals this VR journey. You can admire metal grills, parquet floors and dark eaves, and they all achieve a consistency that impresses. Light plays a vital part of this as you wander into each of those darker sections or gaze out across a sun-drenched beach, watching your little one paddle in the pools below. Post effects are also added into the pot, giving wavering caustic reflections underwater or surface refraction using a pixel shader distort over the top that tracks the waves and ripples. The water and physics in the game are equally, if not more so, impressive. Water jets from your controller following another likely vertex solution that fakes fluid simulation very well. They splash and collide and break into particle chunks as they fall and darken the surface area they come in contact with, and they even refract the light through with a very cheap solution, but overall, like everything in the game, it's a very effective one, certainly when you're this close to the image. Larger pools of water bob, reflect, refract and sway with a similar quality, even picking up objects with surface buoyancy. These visuals and quality of water and physics integration are as good in a 2D game as the 3D one, and it looks brilliant here as you get so close and actually involved in all of those areas. Sometimes you come out of the game feeling like you need to dry yourself off. They all serve a purpose and are some of the best levels and moments in the game. They occur above and below as you keep lerping between the waves. You can even collect a little rubber ring to keep your character on the surface and ride those waves, man. As your head goes under, the sound is distorted and occluded, then returns when leaving the water. Droplets run down your visor or seaweed dreadlocks. This does look good. Yeah, work it, work it. Sorry, got distracted. Now, sound is excellent and, like the visuals, accompanies or increases the moment-to-moment action, from water distortion, background themes and the use of direction and reverb, keeping scale as distant moments lose the higher frequency sounds and delay others. Scale is a great word to describe some of the best parts here. Your adventure takes you across so many moments, battles and sights. You are constantly looking forward to the next level. Something I've tried to keep to a minimum here so as not to spoil many of those moments which are a key segment here. They are simply marvellous as you stare out over the levels, which are not big, even from an end-to-end point. Some of them you can even see from the very start. It is the way it works you into this, getting you inside, looking around all the little bits, understanding the edges or hidden parts that may offer extras or secrets to find. In true Nintendo style, each world it culminates with an epic boss battle, from giant apes to lava-spewing octopi. They all ooze the same wonder, majesty and style of the entire world themselves. While playing, I could quickly see many influences on the title. Mario Sunshine is clear, with the water gun and laser feet showing obvious nods. The fluidity of jumps and response of controls mixed in with the safety edges that remove almost any moments of frustration creeping in as you wobble along the edges. Some segments can leave you with a very limited view at times to see, and practically blind at others. These are few and far between though. The grapple hook come tightrope are ingenious, which still do not give you enough breathing time, as whatever you can do the enemies can too. But this use, and as you balance it around and use the controller into the game, just brings you more and more. But this really does immerse you as you forget you're playing a video game with a helmet strapped on your head. Now, frame rates are a vital element of VR, and although this does not demand as high as likely other titles will, it does tend to look like at certain points on lateral movement there are some blended signs of interpolation or time warping in effect. On lateral movement in the headset, I did pick up a few blended signs where this points to the fact it falls back to this if the 8ms budget is missed. Never an issue though, something true for both models. The difference between the base and the Pro models follows a very similar theme. Resolution. The game uses an adaptive resolution which scales the image quality slightly when this is needed. This can be picked up very easily as levels loads, as you see obvious pixel breakup, shimmer and crawl as the level draws in. It may also be that the temporal AA is disabled during these sections though, as it might affect the image more than just allowing it to draw in natively. Once active, this temporal AA interjects that previous frame's information to the new one to improve the image quality and resolution output. But once we're into the action, this quickly cleans up even on the PS4, so we are somewhere above that 720p level, likely around the 900p looking at the image, but that's only a rough estimate, not an actual figure. The Pro pushes this to almost 1080p or maybe even higher levels, and can clearly be noticed on view distances across both consoles, even at this 1280x720 limited feed we get from the breakout box. Dense foliage is where the Pro advantage stands out. The grass and leaves can blend into a green blur at times on the PS4, but are clearly resolved on the Pro, again pointing to a dynamic resolution being in use. Aside these image quality differences though, all other elements remain the same, from material quality, texture resolution, shadow cascades and lighting are all a match between them. Minor texture streaming issues from mipmap levels can happen infrequently on the PS4, which I never noticed on the Pro, likely due to that improved bandwidth. If you are looking to pick this up, then both versions are close enough to not be of any great concern. My only gripe is some of the checkpoint moments can force you to repeat long sections just to die at the same point again. Enemy design is the perfect balance of Mario cuteness and comedy horror, but I would have loved to see more variety in them. 20 levels and 6 boss battles offer a good 6 or so hours of enjoyment if you speed through and are good at the game. But the extra 26 challenge levels and speedruns are addictive and add many more hours, as does the need to 100% each level, which will likely double or even triple that time you get from this £25 or $30 VR game. And for that price, it feels like a fun-packed bargain. Astro is a game I stuck almost 4.5 hours in one sitting on just to cover for this review, and I purchased it myself. I was hooked by the style, humour, presentation and proficiency in the level and puzzle design. It is a simple, elegant, ultimately linear platforming title that on paper simply sounds like a retro-themed modern take on that. But it is the high production values, super smooth animation, PBR material systems and excellent lighting system that raises it above many other titles on a visual level. This would still be a great looking 2D platformer, but in VR, which is as much as I can try to portray it here, never really accurately shows you how good it looks in the headset. It is simply one of the best. The level design is simply superb, and the flow of the game, the grander moments and integration of you into it all is what seals this as quite simply the best example of VR games done well. It's simply not possible on a flat screen. It takes the medium and does not try to make it fit the game. Instead, it shapes the game around it with astounding success. And that again harks me back to those Super Mario 64 days. If Nintendo made VR titles, this would most likely be the result. It has the same charm, charisma and unassuming intelligence of Team Red. All it is missing is a red plumber to fix those leaks. And as always, if you enjoyed this or any of my other content on my channel, please check it out and check out all my links below. You can follow me on Twitter and read more about this and other titles over on Rectify Gaming. I am completely self-funded and independent, and this is a part-time hobby for me. This isn't a full-time role as a YouTube channel maker or whatever they call themselves. I literally do this as a part-time hobby, so you can help by sharing these videos, getting my view count up and getting my subscriber count up, because that's the only way that I can improve my reach and my repertoire. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon on the next one.